Yakuza 3 begins with Daigo in a car, but we'll get back to that at the ending of the game. For now, look, Kiryu has a fish.
Wow!
In this game, Kiryu is stored in an orphanage and wishes to spend his time there, thus making him go back to Kamurocho and get things set up for that. Personally, I think Kamurocho is more crowded than before. You know who does matter though? It's Majima! And we're gonna go see him to sort things out before heading to the orphanage. As per usual though, Majima's men are fearing for their lives because their boss is too goofy for them. Nonetheless, Kiryu still wants to talk to him because, well, he wants to sort out how he needs him to babysit Daigo despite the fact that he is 33 years old. Which Majima agrees to, but with hardly any reason goes to attack Kiryu. And then they go back to having a friendly chat. And somehow
Palpatine returned.
And somehow, now we're back to the orphanage with Kiryu trying really hard just to cut onions. Kiryu also has to do with other things here, such as crying children.
Yeah, have you ever heard of those? They're parents. We have parents that love us. You don't because you're a little orphan. And go on, you're making us look bad. You're cramping our style.
Kiryu also starts getting eviction notices by these goofs. But when he starts waddling towards them, they just drive away, thus making Kiryu think, what gives? Kiryu then caught up with the wretched beings and roasted them to the high heavens. Kiryu then politely asks for the man to take him to his boss without any fighting whatsoever, and then other men roast him to the high heavens. Kiryu then meets the man's boss, and the boss says that the reason they've been giving eviction notices is because that land has been in their family and a buyer came up, and they wish to sell it. Kiryu then says no, thus making the senior citizen pull out a pokey gadget, and Kiryu just says no again, and leaves. And he's just paralyzed at how he managed to do that. Like, how does a man simply just leave a room? Kiryu then returns to his orphanage, where the children act like this. Until the guy comes back and says that his boss needs help with something. Kiryu asks why it has to be him, and the guy basically just says that his boss likes him because he decided to just leave in the middle of their conversation and not die from senior citizen.
さっきから聞いていると、俺のことを兄貴兄貴って何言ってるんだ。だって、兄貴は兄貴じゃないですか。お前は流動一家の若頭だろう。俺はお前の兄貴分でも何でもない。まあ、その話はいいとして。よくない。お前みたいな奴に兄貴と呼ばれたら、うちの子供たちに悪影響だろうが。別にいいじゃないですか。俺は兄貴の強さと男気に惚れたんです。俺にとって兄貴は兄貴なんです。じゃあシモン、車回してきますんでお願いします。兄貴!
Kiryu then helps the boss, thus making the boss happy. And so he forces Kiryu to be his sworn brother. Kiryu's like, hold up, I'm not yakuza anymore. And then he's like, okay, and I don't care. Oh yeah, and also Daigo's here too.
Daigo?
The next day, Daigo was shot. Oh, also Kiryu's sworn brother was shot too. The girl that Kiryu's sworn brother was looking after drew a picture of the man that shot him, which looked identical to Kazuma, the man that was a father figure to Kiryu. And, also he's dead. Kiryu then decides to go back to Kamurocho because the man who shot everybody in the world is also trying to take down his orphanage. The guy also comes up and asks to go with Kiryu.
兄貴、俺は絶対に兄貴の邪魔になるようなことはしません。だから俺を連れて行ってください。わかった。
Kiru then says, Haruko, don't tell anybody, but I'm gonna play a really funny prank on him, and it's called going to Kamurocho without him. But not before he tames a dog with a cheeseburger and forces the kid to wear clothes that make him look like he's having an identity crisis. But then he was off. Next up, we get to see this dude being abusive. And after bumping into a few friends, literally, Kiru's off on the streets of Kamurocho once again. Except this time he runs into Wesker from the popular video game series Resident Evil. Okay, that was a bit odd. Anyways, on a slightly more sense-making note, the abusive dude continues his abusive trend by throwing a cigarette at Mine, who's a pretty cool dude, and then gets jealous about how much they're talking about Kiru. And then they all start trying to prove that they do in fact not feel a deep affection for Kiru. Meanwhile, Majima literally has the power to sway them, but instead is a goofy goober and says, I just don't really care. I'd rather go play on my Game Boy Advanced. So in short, this was a pretty productive meeting. And now we return to our heroes. Which is just Kiru having a wholesome conversation about how the man that we love, known as Daigo, got shot because he refused a deal to protect Kiru's orphanage. He's been shot. Don't worry, he's not dead. He's just running a bar in Hawaii. Meanwhile, Kiru has the world's shortest police chase ever. Okay, maybe he didn't shake all of them off, because now you have to avoid them while going about, and I don't know why, but I couldn't stop myself from laughing really hard at this. Not long after, I encountered Date. Considering he's a detective, all I had to do was walk beside him and act natural. I guess it's illegal to spin. Once we finally get somewhere safe, we discuss the suspects for who could have shot Daigo, which was also a clever little way to get to learn more about these characters' background, lore, and whatnot. Meanwhile, guess who decided to follow Kiru all the way over to Kamurocho? And of course, he wanted to meet up. But he had no idea where he was, so I had to check almost every single freaking store running around. Kicking guys, selling bicycles at guys, breaking guys' glasses. Until eventually I found him at a park and we saved some woman and finally got to go after the abusive dude. Well, that was until I had to search an entire hotel for him because he just ran away too! But there was only so much running he could do.
四代目がここに来たんじゃ。いきなり何しやがる。それはこっちのセリフじゃ。
Let me tell you guys, this guy's obsession with grabbing furniture was the most spooky thing I've ever seen, but I'm mainly surprised he didn't pull every muscle in his back and maybe pop some veins and an appendix with the strain he put on himself to rip this off the wall. Looking back at the footage, I'm surprised I was able to do that quick time event with how hard I was laughing. And speaking of back pain, I don't even know how to explain this. Kiro ended up finding out that this guy isn't the guy in question he's going after, but before moving on to the next suspect, Kiro decided to have some fun with his new friend on the swings and talk about cold noodles. The next suspect was Majima, according to Date, but we love Majima here and we know he's a good little guy. Or he better be, otherwise Kiro's gonna kill him.
Sir, if you have a complaint, I suggest you submit it through our email system. I would be happy to refer you to our website.
That's a lot of dudes. Hold on, let me get my calculator. Okay, take away the 1, drag the 2. It looks like we've got 16 men here. And hold on, what is going on over there? Anyway, Majima found me and I'm gonna fight him for some reason. After that, and a nice chat with our man, he provides information confirming he is innocent to no one's surprise. And he has reason to believe this dude is behind it all. And in the middle of my conversation with him, I hear a muffled man from somewhere.
それだけじゃねえようだぜ。久しぶりじゃねえか、キリ。
This guy basically just said, you know all that stuff Majima said, I second to that. And then our boy got kidnapped. Oh no. After some fighting, and some very immersive gameplay later.
Why isn't it possible? It's just not. Why not, you stupid bat?
I finally made it to Kiru's friend, and this happened.
また勝負は終わってない。
力也、兄貴。
さあ、目の前であの男の首が飛ぶところを見ろ。
力也。
ナジ、あの男は 死んだはずでは。
おやっさん、あんた風間のおやっさんじゃないのか。どうして大吾中原を撃ったんだ。
優が桐生一馬か。
ああ。
Beautiful eyes.
Yeah, I don't know. But after I got Kira's friend to safety, Mine shows up and says, "Let's be friends. I beheaded that guy that you gave a massage, and the imposter man has probably fled the country, but I've tracked down his other guys." And then afterwards he says, "You're a coward," and just walks out. However, there is still the mystery of the man who acknowledges Kira's beautiful eyes. So, we talked to another man for some information on that. To sum up this whole entire thing, I'm gonna use Wikipedia real quick.
The guy says that the military base expansion bill, aka the thing in question that would get rid of Kiryu's orphanage, is part of a CIA operation to eliminate an arms smuggling group known as Black Monday. And Nakahara's attacker is senior CIA operative Joji Kazama, Shintaro Kazama's brother, also voiced by Tetsuya Watari. AKA the man who raised Kiryu has a brother and that's him. Beautiful Eyes Man. Amaya agrees to stop the resort if Kiryu protects his former secretary from a planned hit by Joji. Kiryu intercepts Joji and defeats him, returning home. Kiryu finds the orphanage in ruins. Mine had promised Tamashiro a share of the resort for securing the remaining land. Nakahara is trampled by bulls in Tamashiro's bullring hideout. Kiryu defeats Tamashiro, who then fires at him. Rikia defends Kiryu and is fatally wounded. Joji kills Tamashiro, while the dying Rikia asks Kiryu to stop Mine.
Anyways, one of these, 7 headbutts, and, one weirdly oblong 3,000 yen later, I made my way to the Millennium Tower, which there, I would stop Mine. And the amount of aggression I had in doing so is freaking stupid, like... Until, eventually, I encountered the man from before.
Omae. どうしてお前が
Looks like you're a little late. You just missed him. If I'd known it would have come to this, I'd have killed you when first we met.
なんだと大吾はどこだどこへやった
If you're looking for Daigo, Mine's taken him up to the roof.
He was also no exception to the aggression I had.
Go to hell! Come on!
Eventually, I made my way up to Mine, and there he explained that his reasoning for kidnapping Daigo while he was defenseless in a hospital bed was because he was worried about him. And he's lived a life where he felt unloved, and Daigo was the only man who actually loved him for that, thus making him love Daigo as well. And so he's going to kill Daigo.
No, what? How? What?
何をする気だ。お前みたいな人間には口で説明しても伝わらない。だったら俺が俺なりのやり方でお前に教えてやる。
But what this man didn't understand is that I hadn't died this whole entire playthrough. And spoiler alert, I didn't die here either. And with that, I beat Mine, and he became in a starfish formation on the floor. And also, on top of that, I got Daigo to safety, and ensured the safety of Kiru's orphanage. And Kiru started saying his goodbyes to all his friends so that he could return to his life at the orphanage. Until the imposter man returned.
全て失っちまったよ。お前のせいでな。俺はもう終わりだ。だが捕まるくらいなら首でもくくるわ。
何言ってるんだ。死ぬくらいなら生きて罪を償えよ。
なんだと？
死ぬ覚悟があれば何でもできるはずだ。
But the imposter man was still sus anyway. Turns out the man got put behind bars, and Kiru had a speedy recovery from his stab wound. And well, that about wraps up the game. I personally think that people give Yakuza 3 a harder time than it deserves. I would say it's one of my favorite in the series, and as of the moment I'm writing this, I've beaten 8 of the games so far. But yeah, prepare for more Yakuza videos in the future. And with that, I'm gonna go ahead and leave this video here. So take care of yourselves, have a decent day, and stay determined, out of the way.